Hello, welcome to this video. In this video we will make Sambal Matah and then we will use it to make Nasi Goreng Sambal Matah. Sambal is an Indonesian chili sauce, which is the backbone of just about all Indonesian cooking. And Nasi Goreng means fried rice. Most Indonesian fried rices, Nasi Gorengs, in fact use sambal as one of their main components. I like this one in particular because with all the fragrant components to it, it has a really wonderful mixture of flavors. Amazing profile. I hope that you enjoy it. Now before we get started, there are a couple things we must keep in mind. Anytime you make a fried rice, you need to use rice that's a day old, leftover. That way it's had a chance to dry out a bit, become more absorbent. If you try to use freshly cooked rice, everything's going to get all mushy and fall apart, so don't do that. The second thing is you're not always going to find all the right ingredients, and so sometimes you may have to improvise a little bit. I'll go over a couple improvisations I've made here, but you can almost always come out with a really good result. A lot of ingredients you can get at Asian stores and stuff like that. And so I guess the next thing we'll do is we'll look at the ingredients. So here are the main ingredients we're going to use. First, let me mention the sambal. The sambal will have a little bit of coconut oil in it. You can use some other heavier vegetable oils, maybe safflower or something. In this case, it will have shallots. In Bahasa Indonesia, this is bawang merah. And the Indonesian bawang merahs will be more round than this, but bawang merah means shallot, so you can go ahead and use that. We're going to use a few kaffir lime leaves. This is daun jeruk in Bahasa Indonesia, and as I say, in this particular one we have a lot of fragrant things. And then one of the main backbones of Balinese cooking is lemongrass, so that goes into this particular sambal also. We'll add as an egg. The main aspects of fried rice are oil, eggs, maybe meat, sambal, and the rice. And then of course we have our day-old rice here. Thanks. Now on to making the sambal. Now in this particular case, this Sambal Matah means sliced sambal. So basically I'm going to slice the chili peppers and the shallots and I'm going to put them in this bowl. Everything should be sliced about as thin as possible, and then we'll mix our fragrant pieces in with it. Now in this particular case I just had red chilies. They're not as spicy as the cabe rawit that I would normally use, but that's what I have. And as I say, normally you can use minyak palem, meaning palm oil, or minyak kelapa, meaning coconut oil, for the main oil that we will add in a bit. After the chili peppers are sliced, we're going to go ahead and add the thinly sliced shallots. Now if you're going to go ahead and use this for anything other than Nasi Goreng, you really want to slice everything really thin. This is what we call a fresh sambal. So we're not actually cooking the ingredients. You're going to have basically raw shallots, raw chili peppers, and then your aromatics that'll be then tied together with a very little bit of very hot oil. So since this is all going in a Nasi Goreng, I'm going to go ahead and not quite worry about slicing it so thin. In a lot of Balinese restaurants, you'll see the Sambal Matah just on the side of everything, and you can go ahead and add it to just about anything you might want to eat. Sambal is one of those sort of universal condiments. Once the shallots and cabe are in here, now we focus on our aromatics. As you can see here, I've started to devein the lime leaves, and this is really important because these veins are kind of tough. Once they're chopped thin, they may catch in your throat. So we're going to go ahead and devein them, and we're going to put them together very closely, and then we're going to slice them very, very thin. Needs to dry out a little bit. It's no really big deal. They will rehydrate a bit as we stir everything together. And then, of course, we very thinly chop our lemongrass. This has been frozen for a bit, so it's not as crisp as I would like it, but it'll do. Once we have all of our aromatics together, we're going to go ahead and add them into this bowl. And then we're going to stir everything in nicely, and you'll be able to kind of begin to smell the aromatics coming together. This is going to form sort of the basis of the general flavor that makes Nasi Goreng Sambal Matah unique. There are also 2 ingredients into the whole Nasi Goreng bit that I omitted earlier, which are 2 different kinds of soy sauce. In Indonesian cooking, you have salty soy sauce and you have sweet soy sauce. These are called Kecap Manis for sweet soy sauce and Kecap Asin for salty soy sauce. And you might think, oh, they borrowed our word ketchup, but actually it's the other way around. We borrowed their word ketchup, and we use it for something very different. So near the end, we'll add a little bit of this Kecap Manis and a bit of this soy sauce. I have just Kikkoman's here, but it'll work as a Kecap Asin. Final bit of prep will be the chicken. Here I'm going to go ahead and just pull the bone out of the chicken thigh. You can use chicken breast, it's okay, but I think thigh works better. Dark meat works better in this case, so let's just pull the bone out. Let's go ahead and pull the skin off. We don't really need those. We can set those aside for stock later. And then let's just slice this here. And we're going to take it and we're going to cut it into fairly small pieces. Now in Balinese are primarily Hindu. So you can do this with chicken, especially if you're doing it for mixed audience. Remember, most Indonesians are Muslim. Or you can use pork if it's specifically Balinese, but you would never ever use beef. And I haven't worried about the fact that there's still some of the aromatics on here. That's fine, it'll just soak into the meat, I guess. Now we're going to start to put this whole thing together. Now if this was a nice metal wok, the first thing I would do is I would heat it up. The Chinese have a saying, cold oil, hot wok, which is very important because this helps keep things from sticking. This is a non-stick one, and so we don't really want to let it heat up as much. But I'm still going to turn the burner on first, and I'm going to touch the bottom of this to make sure that it's heating up a bit before I add the oil. I'm going to go ahead and open this coconut oil. And coconut oil is pretty thick, as you can see, but it's going to go ahead and melt. And once the oil's hot, I'm going to take a little bit back out of the wok and stir it into the Sambal Matah. Anyway, this is starting to heat up. You need to add a fair bit of oil to the whole, to any fried rice. So probably that's a good starting. Okay, so now the oil's hot. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a spoonful of this really hot oil, and I'm going to spoon it over the Sambal Matah, and I'm going to stir it in. This is one of the key things about Sambal Matah, is getting that little bit of oil on it, but only a little bit. That helps bring those flavors together. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to crack an egg into what seems to be a fairly large amount of oil, but you'll see it turns out not to be so much. And normally I would prefer to use a metal wok with a metal scoop, but I don't have that, so basically now I just scramble the egg in the what seems to be excessive amount of oil, and let that kind of cook for a little bit. Once that's cooking, I'm going to scoop some of my Sambal Matah in. And you can take this for fried rice, you can take this and then maybe freeze it or something if you need to, but for like fresh sambals, it'll be a little bit different. And I'm going to take a nice couple little scoops of that. And I'm going to stir that in with the egg. So I've gone ahead and I'm sauteing the eggs together and with the Sambal Matah. Again, I added eggs first into the oil, and then I added the Sambal Matah. I'm going to stir in my chicken. And we're going to let this cook for a bit until it's nice and cooked. Again, oil and a fairly large amount of it. A little bit of the oil comes back out into the sambal, and then eggs, and then meat. Okay, so now I've been stirring this for a while, and nice thing about with a wok is basically you just keep stirring stuff up onto the sides and they keep coming back down. Anyway, this is starting to smell really good, and I can see that the chicken is nicely cooked all the way through. So, next step is we're going to add the rice. And I'm basically going to start stirring it in until it is nicely broken down. When I get done stirring in the rice, then I will add a couple things to finish it, and then we will go ahead and present. And here we have this mostly done, but not all the way. And I just keep having to break it down as it's cooking. It still seems a little bit dry, so I'm actually going to add even a little bit more of coconut oil. This really underscores the fact that fried rice does tend to use a lot of oil. I think that's enough. I'll just add that whole bit since there's a bit of egg in it. And we'll go ahead and just keep stirring and breaking it up until it's all the way broken down. As it's breaking down, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of Kecap Asin. This is salty soy sauce. And a little bit of ketchup mayonnaise. Probably a little too much, but it'll be okay. If you can't get ketchup mayonnaise, take half soy sauce and half molasses, and that should produce kind of something that's kind of halfway right. And we'll just go ahead, and now you can see it's breaking up a lot easier. And now we have our basic Nasi Goreng. To serve it, you can basically mold it in a shape. One of my favorite things to do is basically fill it into a bowl like this. And you can pack it down a little bit. Again, if I had a metal wok, I'd use one of those nice metal shovels. But what I have here is a non-stick one, so I'll use a plastic spatula. Once I have that nicely filled, I'm just going to put it upside down on a plate, and voila. Now I have the basic Nasi Goreng Sambal Matah. Now next we'll talk about how to present this. So here I am, I'm frying an egg. It's okay that there's still a little bit of fried rice in the wok, it's okay. I've sliced some tomatoes. Here I've used plum tomatoes. Basically your primary tomatoes in Indonesia are a paste tomato similar to a Roma. So you can use Romas, you can use plum tomatoes, you can use just about any paste tomato and have it be pretty close. And then of course cucumbers are very, very important also. So the way that this is all going to go together is we're going to put the tomatoes and cucumbers around the outside. We're going to top it off with a fried egg. And then if you really wanted to, you could put a little bit of sambal on the top or on the side if you like that extra spiciness. But for now, I think we'll just let it be cooked in. Now, the fried egg, it's fine if it breaks, but one of the key things is it really needs to be cooked all the way through. Indonesians tend to cook their eggs in oil, and they tend to cook them all the way through. So here we go. Turn this off. And then I'm just going to alternate. And so here it is, fully presented. A couple notes. I think I did add a little bit too much kecap manis. Balinese food doesn't use a lot of kecap manis, so it'd just be a tiny, tiny amount. But again, this is how it would look. You can add maybe some sambal on the top if you like, something like that. This is one of my favorite fried rices. Hope you enjoy it. It smells good. Hope you like it. For those of you who don't know, I lived in Indonesia for 4.5 years. I came to really appreciate the cuisine, not only of places like Bali, but also places like Jakarta. This whole series of videos will include a lot more Indonesian cooking in the future. So this is just the start. Hope that you all enjoy it. Thank you for watching.